All right, welcome back. This will be the second video where we're looking at this SOAPS framework for interpreting primary sources. I'm just going to give you a really quick example using the front page of the New York Times from the day after the Pearl Harbor attack. As you may or may not know, this would be the attack that launched the United States' entry into World War II. So I'm going to go through SOAPS. I've got a snapshot of the front page here on the right-hand side of the screen. And on the left-hand side, I have SOAPS. That's subject, occasion, audience, purpose, and speaker. So if we look at our document on the right here, let me shrink this down a little bit so it's a little bit easier for you to see. Go like that. And I can make this a little bit bigger. I'm looking at the front page of the New York Times. You can see that at the top here it says New York Times. And the headline is, Japan wars on U.S. and Britain, makes sudden attack on Hawaii, heavy fighting at sea reported. Right between the headline and the title of the document, it says it's New York, Monday, December 8th, 1941. So looking through SOAPS on the left, I have subject. What is this talking about? Well, this primary source about World War II is talking about the Japanese attack on the United States at Pearl Harbor. The occasion listed, when and where was this record created or found? Well, this was a newspaper front page that was released the day after the attack. Who is it for? It's intended for people who want to know what's going on in the world. The New York Times is a newspaper, so the intended audience is going to be the audience of that newspaper, specifically literate Americans, not just in New York, but possibly all over the country. A further clue we might see in the top right is it says Late City Edition, which maybe this is a special release of the newspaper that would be intended only for the people of New York City. So if we were researching World War II, we would need to find out exactly what a Late City Edition referred to. But those are the kind of clues that tell us who the audience might be. For purpose, why was it created and why do I care? The purpose obviously is to inform the subscribers of the New York Times or inform the general public about what's going on in the world. Why do we care? Well, this could tell us what people were thinking about the day after Pearl Harbor. You can see there's a lot of references here. Congress deciding, Roosevelt addressing the nation, Tokyo acts first, calls its envoys, so it's withdrawing people. All these things being talked about, a choice was made by the people who wrote this interview to include things like a map or the status of Guam or Manila Bay or how many soldiers were killed. Here's one quote here. President fears very heavy losses on Oahu. That means maybe we don't know how many dead there were at this time period. So why would you care as an historian? You would care as an historian because all of these statements can be used to better understand that time period. Last, it'll talk about speaker, who is speaking and who created it. Who's speaking? If there's a specific author being given, and if we zoom in, we can see that one section was written by C.F. Trussell, special to the New York Times. So there is a journalist associated with it, but you can see there's other information here on the right where it says Frank L. Cluckhorn. So there's multiple articles, multiple speakers, but overall it would be the staff of the New York Times that are writing this. All right, guys, that was just a very quick sort of overview of SOAPS in the context of a primary source of a newspaper from World War II. I'll have one more post that will talk about a sample that you can then run through SOAPS with. Thank you.